So guys, let's go ahead and just jump right into things. Thank you guys for joining me today, May 27th, for our weekly outlook. Thank you guys for being here. I want to jump right into things. As I mentioned before I started recording, this is a very good week to be taking some notes, have your trading journal out. I'm very excited. Like I was just mentioning, it's not every week that the setups are super awesome and things are looking really good. And I'm very happy with the way last week was. We, in our premium group on our signals, we banked about 500, a little bit over 500 pips on just trade setups and like actual signals that I gave out to the group. So moving into this week, I'm really liking the way things are looking. We're going to go over 3 pairs in specific today that I think this week is going to be very profitable. So have something to take some notes with. I'm going to be sharing some price targets, but first and foremost, my name is David Schinkel. If this is your guys' first time on here, I'm the CEO and founder of Positive Traders, which has been around since middle of 2016. So it's pretty crazy that I've been running this company for about 2 years now. And I appreciate all your guys' support. So without further ado, let's get started. And let me just say that this is just my opinion, guys. So as a disclaimer, just please, all this information that I share with you guys today should just be used for entertainment, educational purposes only. This is not financial investment advice. You should be using your own analysis when you are placing trades. Chris, unmute. He says he can't hear. Everybody says else is good. So let's get into things, guys. So first thing I just want to look at is a couple things. So tomorrow is Memorial Day. So happy Memorial Day to anybody celebrating that. So it's going to be bank holiday in the US tomorrow. There's also a bank holiday for Great Britain as well. I'm not going to take too much time talking about the economic calendar this week. There's a couple different events this week. We do have a interest rate decision on Wednesday for the Canadian dollar, among some other things. But main thing I just want to point out, guys, is keep in mind that this Friday is NFP, so it is non-farm payrolls. If you do not know what non-farm payrolls is, do a little Google search, non-farm payrolls Forex. So I'll give you an idea of what that is. I'm not going to spend too much time on this today. But if you are in, a part of my daily webinars, we'll be talking about that throughout once it gets a little bit closer to that this week. So overall, here we go, guys. So first things first, this is going to be my bias. Is I am expecting the dollar to strengthen this week. So if you guys don't know, my bias has been pretty spot on for the most part. For the past couple weeks, we've been really spot on. We'll have my streaks where maybe I'll have like 1 week here or there that it doesn't move correctly, but for overall, it's pretty nice. I'm very happy to say that most of the time my bias is correct. So last week we were expecting some initial weakening at the beginning of last week, which we did see, and we talked about that on our daily webinars. Then we were expecting some strengthening going into the end of last week. So and I'm expecting this strengthening to continue. So that being said, seeing the dollar strengthen, we're also back above a very significant level. Let me just point out this weekly level. We're right back above the 93.2 area. So this is a very significant zone for us. It's the support of this range that we had been in for quite a long time, and we're back above this area. We're seeing some buying pressure, and I believe that this buying pressure on the dollar is going to continue, at least momentarily. And we'll look to see what happens. So I'm going to be giving you guys price ideas for everything else. So because I'm expecting the dollar to strengthen, I am expecting gold to weaken this week. I would be definitely looking for some gold sells. There's some really nice opportunity. I've been expecting gold to fall for quite some time. Those of you guys that have been following along with the weekly webinars, previously when we were back in this range, I had made a call when price was all the way down here in this range that it would probably retest 1350 before falling back down. And as we started to fall, my next price target was 1300. So this has all been spot on. I'd say the next target that we can expect to see gold to probably see is the 1250 area. We're retesting the 1300. We broke down and we consolidated, and last week we pushed back up and we're retesting the zone. So I'm expecting price to continue falling, and this is all based on a stronger dollar, right? If we see the US dollar strengthen, like I'm expecting that to happen, we should see gold fall. So gold, I would be looking for sells on gold. There's also a nice little trend line right here on the 4-hour that we can see where price is being rejected off. So I feel very strongly about this. Also, we're going to talk about USD CAD. I feel very strongly to the upside on USD CAD. This is a pair that we're going to be looking at this in depth in just a moment. And because I'm looking for upside on USD CAD, we know that USD CAD and gold have a negative correlation. So because I'm looking to buy USD CAD, I'm looking to sell gold. Also, Euro USD, I've been talking about Euro USD for some time to be watching it around the 119, 118 area. This is a very significant area. And if we broke through this area, which was the more likely scenario on a dollar strength, this correction to continue, that we're probably going to see price fall towards 115, 114. So in your trading journals, in my trading journal, I have it written down, Euro USD is heading towards the 115, 114 area. So I feel very confident about that. I feel very confident that this week we're probably going to see another bearish week. Now, I do think that there is an opportunity for a pullback first. We could see something like Euro USD pull back a little bit, but ultimately before the week is over, we should see last week's lows broken and some new lows created on Euro USD. I'm still very bearish on this. USD Swiss franc, I'm just going to skip over right now. It's consolidating around parity. I'm not really interested in trading this pair. Pound dollar, I do want to do a quick recap, and this is also one reason why, if maybe some of you guys are new to following Positive Traders or following our Telegram, why it's probably a good idea to keep tabs on our Telegram. So I actually put this, if you guys can also follow me on TradingView, it's just my first and last name, David Schinkel, but I posted this inside of Telegram last week on whenever that was, the 22nd. So that was last Tuesday. So the beginning of last week, I posted this trade idea. It was public for you guys. I posted it inside of Telegram, and I said that this is most likely was going to happen. You can read down here. I put it on May 22nd. Textbook bear flag, right? Expecting support to break and further downside along with this and pound yen. Okay. So I don't always drop, guys, I'm not, let me just say one thing. I'm not, unless you're a part of my paid group and you pay for my services where I tell you exactly where to get in and where to get out and the exact parameters, right? If you're just in my Telegram, I like to drop like hints. I'm not trying to, it's like the whole saying, like you can lead a horse to water, and you can, what's the saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So I don't want to just give you guys everything. I don't want to just give you guys handouts. That's not what I'm in the business of. I want to give you guys, the opportunity to do your own analysis and give you guys a push in the right direction. So this should, for those of you guys that are studying and are putting in the work, this should be very clear that we're looking for a sell. And obviously for those of you guys that don't even want to read anything, I obviously just put an arrow here, saying downside. So this is just a recap. And then we did see downside. So we initially saw a big push. This push was about 75 pips. We saw a pullback. There's actually a retest of the underside of this bear flag, or this support of this bear flag, another opportunity to get in, and then it fell. So this total drop happened last week, and that's exactly what we were expecting. And so getting into the live, and I did a poll, guys. I'm going to be posting a lot more of these. I think this is really helpful. I noticed a lot of you guys viewed this. If you guys thumbs up this, we got a comment down here too. The more interaction you guys give with me, the more, support there is, the more often, especially if you're just like the free Telegram, that I'm going to put out free things. I also gave out another opportunity inside of Telegram. I posted a screenshot of, long before any of this happened. So really good price action. This is what I mean, just taking advantage. It's not going to happen all the time, but when you do get this good price action, you have a very good opportunity to make money. So this is the beginning of last week, dropped, consolidated, and we saw another drop, right? So immediately once we saw this setup form, and they're very reminiscent of each other, right? We have a lot of consolidation. I went over this on the weekly recap on Friday in the premium group also, but we have a lot of consolidation, and then we spiked up a little bit, fell back down, stayed back in this channel, and then broke, right? And then we had the exact same thing start to happen. Consolidation, right? A little spike happened, came back in here. So in this area, right, we have this really nice support. We can, the whole idea behind trading is having an edge, right? Or having a higher probability of something happening than not. So, we have a very high probability of this breaking down and making a similar move that we saw the first time. So opportunity to grab money right there. So that is just a quick recap. But anyways, this week, trade ideas on pound dollar is look for sell opportunities still, right? I think a pullback can definitely happen, right? We've been very, very bearish. There hasn't really been any real correction the past week or two. So that's be very wary of that. I think we could see maybe a correction, but ultimately I think we're going to see some more downside as long as we stay below the 136 area. So I've talked about 136 many times. I've told you guys to have this on your chart, but the 136 zone, just like I have it on my chart, is something you guys should have. It's a very clean area, right? We consolidated very much so underneath this area before moving further. So we've been very bearish on this pair for a while, and it has paid off. And I just want to talk about pound yen really quickly. So I'm actually going to remove this stuff, but this is a signal that was actually given out in the group last week. There's actually two signals in one. So this was a 38 pip stop loss signal that we had with a 349 pip take profit. I was not expecting it. This was a long-term trade, of course, with 350 pips. I wasn't expecting it to happen all in 1 week. But analysis is pretty simple on this pair. And we're going to talk about what I'm expecting for this week. So some of you guys may or may not be able to see it, but if you're just looking at price action, right, we have this uptrend that gets broken, and then we have another little uptrend that gets broken. So this big crash, a lot of people caught this. And then even towards the end of the week, it continued to fall, really tapered off, had a bear flag. So overall, here is my bias on pound yen. So I'm just going to hide these for now. This is another trade that we placed at the end of the week that hit take profit as well. So just this pair made us 450 pips last week. And the reason why I targeted 145.50 was it was just above our extension, which is at 145.17. So if you guys are not familiar with how to use fib extensions, it's a tool. It's not a retracement, it's an extension because it past 100%, and it allows you to find, targets beyond if you don't have, a significant area of support or resistance to the left. In this case, we also did have some confluence with our previous lows back in March. So, just confluence here, and we did see that target hit. So we are out of this trade. We made some very nice profit. That was a 1 to 9 risk to reward. So if you're risking, the standard 2% that I recommend risking on a trade, you risk 2% to make 18%, right? That this one trade drop, you could have made 18% on it. Okay. So I'm still very bearish on pound yen. And let me just show you from a weekly standpoint. Let me just go ahead and delete this, and let me put on the weekly and just show you guys what I'm working with now. So we have a very bearish, I'll keep everything on here. We have a very bearish weekly candle that closed last week. We're also breaking a pretty strong uptrend. So for those of you guys that are looking for, something long-term again to get into another position where you're looking for take profit to be hundreds of pips, we could probably start to look at the retracement on this initial move up, and we can probably be looking for like our first targets to be around 140. So that's going to be about 600 pips lower. I think this is definitely something that is fair. Especially this week is going to be the confirmation. If we see another very bearish week for pound yen, then we can expect to see some very significant weakening in this pair. And a lot of it is going to just have to do with strength of the yen. So we'll look to see what happens. But overall, I am bearish on that. Dollar yen, I'm not interested in trading. And then let's get into the three pairs that I just want you guys to keep your eyes on. So I said at the beginning of this webinar that there are going to be 3 that I'm specifically interested in getting into this week, and this is what I want to look at. So first is AUD USD. I want you guys to I just want to point out a couple things from a daily perspective. So we have a very strong uptrend. We have a very strong support level broken right now. We've actually been below this support level for quite a while. And we're doing kind of a similar move on what happened on pound yen, right? Where we kind of consolidated up, found some support up, and then eventually broke down, right? So I'm looking for some downside on AUD USD this week, especially with the dollar strengthening further, Euro USD probably finding some lower lows. I would expect this pair to find some downside. Now, it is possible we could stay up, but just watch this trend line. If and when we do break this trend line, look for some sells. I just have another trend line plotted out, just a couple different areas of interest, but I'll be looking for some pretty good downside on this pair. And when I say pretty good downside, let me just give you guys like a target. So if we throw this on the daily and we measure our first drop, it's about 230 pips. So you'd be looking for about 230 pips, at least down to like the 74 area, some new lows being broken. But this is I'm very, very interested in AUD USD and NZD USD. Both of these look very nice. Now, I want to just point out a couple things on NZD USD. There is a very significant demand level. It's pretty much like the 60, 68 to like 50 area. You can see where this bottom green zone is. Let me mark it off with my marker as well. So this area, we can see we found this has a pretty big demand level, lots of support found here in the past. However, moving onto the 4 hour, we have a nice bear flag, kind of very similar to what we saw last week on pound dollar as well, right? We've seen it fall, and we've seen some consolidation. So I would be looking for a break of the support. If it breaks this area, we're going to definitely see some significant downside on this pair. Okay. And for those of you guys that are in my group or you're connected to my trade copy or anything like that, we're going to be going over USD CAD. This is a pair that I am very interested in getting into. So at some point this year, I would like to see USD CAD find its way lower. Right now, a lot of the markets are pretty bullish in terms of the dollar. We've seen the past couple months the dollar rally. And as I mentioned, my bias this week, and as it has been for quite a while, the dollar looks to be on a run, right? It's continuing to strengthen. So with that being said, it makes sense with something like USD CAD to be looking for buys. And I just want to point out a few levels. I know that this chart can look kind of confusing, so I just want to break down a few things for you guys. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this. So for those of you guys that don't really care about like learning or how to draw things, you can leave if you want. I'm looking at buying USD CAD, but for those of you guys that want to know why I'm looking or where I'm looking for it to go to and why, that type of thing, I'm just going to go over it very quickly. So pretty much a blank chart just to kind of like recap on what USD CAD has done I like to look at like the long-term thing, guys. I like to like look at like a scaled out view, right? We saw an initial drop in USD CAD consolidate for a few years. Middle of last year, it finally broke out of this consolidation that we were in for a long time. And we saw since then, we've kind of been sideways. We've been slowly moving up, and now we're at an interesting level. Okay. So hopefully that kind of paints a picture for you guys. This trend line is the support of basically this channel, this consolidation moving sideways. Okay. This target down here, this 116 area, that's just a personal target that I have on here, and that is the extension of this correction, right? This move right here. Okay, so you can see that's like the middle of the zone of this extension. So that's just a level I have on the charts. In fact, I'm actually going to move it even over to the left now that we're further in time. And I'm going to delete this again. Something else that I want to point out for you guys is this trend line. All right, you guys can see that Now that we're back in a rally, USD CAD has been very bullish. It's definitely appropriate. Now, this trend line, some could argue this ascending trend line could argue that it's irrelevant. You don't have to have it on there. But for me, it's just works good for me. It's something that I like to have on there. And I have this resistance trend line, so pulling down, and that's just a key level. I'm just watching, and then I'm also watching kind of like what's going on right here, right? So right now I see USD CAD kind of like wedging. It's getting to the top of this trend line. And then I have, for a little bit more of a scaled out perspective of what's going on, right? I just have this level marked off because this is just it's just a zone of the recent highs after a pretty significant area we'll talk about in just a moment. And then I just have this small zone right here. Some of you guys might not care about this. I'm just letting you know. For those of you guys that do, this is just like the support of this range. Okay, some of you guys, I'll just quickly show you this range we were in for most of last week. You guys know that if you were trading USD CAD or looking at USD CAD, it kind of like bounced off of this range a few times before breaking out at the end of last week. Okay, so bear with me. I know I just trying to go over everything and share with you guys my analysis. So now we're going to get into the juicy stuff, guys. Okay. So the first thing is my whole idea of USD CAD is we're in a fourth wave looking to go long-term lower in a fifth wave. And what I mean is I see this. I see here's the beginning, right? And then here's the drop. That's our first wave. Then we have our second wave, our third wave. Now we're in our fourth wave, right? At some point, it's going to go somewhere, right? It's going to get somewhere in here. I think, me personally, I think it's going to go to the 134 area. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. And then eventually we should maybe see a fifth wave down to the 116 area, which is the long term. So this is, those of you guys that want to like have this on your chart, this is my personal long-term thing, what I see. And just so my track record is clear, guys. So some of you guys that are new on here might not know, like, oh, how accurate am I? I'm not trying to boast. I'm just trying to share with you guys something that I showed, that I called. So, and so many of you guys, if you're in the premium group, please back me up on this in the chat. You guys know that I called this. Even if you're in the free group, I went over this many times in the free group too. But anyways, when both AUD/USD and NZD/USD, they both had a very similar uptrend last year, and then towards the end of last year, a big pullback, and then into the beginning of this year, we had a big move up. And when we were in this big move up, right here where I'm circling right here, I called this move back down to at least the 76 area. So this big move, I'm fairly accurate with like the big zones. So it's something to just keep in mind. Mike is saying you called that, and NZD/USD too. So yeah, NZD/USD too did a very similar setup. So same thing, like I have this right here. This was that uptrend in 2017, then the end of 2017, and then beginning of 2018. And then when we were up here, I called this move back down into this range as well. So just as far as calling these types of things go, I just wanted to share that with you guys. But so bear with me. So let me just go ahead and let me delete this. So that's just my overall idea. But let me just share with you guys something. We have this fib, right? If you fib out this previous swing, right, which is the high around 137.80 all the way down to 120.70, you can see that this green zone makes more sense now, right? This is that 50% retracement level, okay, of this move. So we've retraced 50%. We've broke above it one time, and the reason why I have this green zone is not just the high, but it's also, it had popped up to the 61.8% retracement level before dropping down, and then we have this trend line that we've been above. But bear with me. So inside of this overall wave down, right, down to the 116 area, I believe we are also in a wave up. So let me show you guys this. This is just my idea, right? We have this one, and then we have the second wave, and then we have the third wave, the fourth wave, and now we are in that fifth wave. And some of you guys might be asking, well, how far is this fifth wave going to go? Well, we have to use our measuring tools, right? So if we measure, this is all about confluence, right? If we measure this first wave, right? You don't measure sideways, right? I mean, you just measure straight up, pull straight up. It's about 830 pips, right? And then you have that correction wave, right? So if we check this, look, it's just beautiful. It's also about 800. If you go from the bottom to the top, it's about 830 pips. Beautiful, right? So we now know that this fourth extension should be about 830 pips, right? So we measure from the bottom and we go straight up, and 830 pips is going to put us at 133.76 in that zone. So we could just call this. That's why I originally had this right here, and I was calling it 134. Right, so using the quarters theory or just, in even numbers, this is going to give us a target. So I think that's everything I deleted too. So as far as getting into a trade and something, so now just completing everything and putting it all together, right, we can now see that price has broken the 50% retracement level at the end of last week. It looks like we're looking to go up further. Makes sense with the US dollar. Big thing is we have this resistance right here to watch out for. But if we can get into a trade with good risk to reward, that's the key, is a high risk to reward trade, then it's okay, to take that risk to get in because we're using good risk to reward. So, something like this, I would recommend getting in now with something like this. And for those of you guys that are following my trade copier and following my trades and the signals in the group, I'm going to be looking at getting into USD CAD somewhere around now. So you can consider this kind of like a lot of free value dropped for you guys. We're going to be looking at a pretty solid stop loss, about a 75 or 100 pip stop loss, but we're going to be looking to target, our targets are going to be at 134, right? So we're going to have a very high risk to reward on this trade. So that's just something on USD CAD. Okay. So I thought you saw an inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, I think you could probably get an inverse head and shoulders out of their mic. Daily trend line on USD has me worried as resistance. Yeah, Nick, I definitely see that as well. So that is there, that trend line. But really, I think what most people see, Nick, is that trend line, right? A lot of people are just having basic trend lines on their chart, which sometimes works really well. But, sometimes there's deeper, patterns inside. And I think finding this Elliott wave that we're in right now, this fourth wave up to the 134 area, is that deeper wave, is the more advanced what we're looking for. And that also is going to give us some confluence. What that's going to also do is it's going to fake out a lot of people. It's going to give, for a lot of like the retail traders that are just looking at this line, what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of people shorting in this area. And as it goes up and up and up, people are going to short as it pushes up. And then when it gets all the way up here, then all the people that shorted all the way down, they're going to be like, okay, now the trend is changing. And then they're going to be buying in this area. And then I think the real move is going to be our fifth wave of this initial move lower, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, our fifth wave down. So we're going to be looking to sell when a lot of people are probably going to be looking to buy around 134, right? We're going to be buying all the way up to 134 when people are shorting and getting stopped out and margin called. And then when people decide to switch, it has a lot to do with like the psychology in have trading like the market makers. So do you look at oil news? Oh yes. And also, so one thing, let me just go over very quickly. So here's oil too. So here's another reason why I think USD CAD is easy money, and why Nick, to address, if you're still in here, Nick, to address your concern of this trend line, right? This is another reason why I think a lot of people are going to get trapped, is because I think a lot of people are going to think this trend line is just guaranteed to hold, when that's not necessarily true, because oil is very bearish, right? We've been very, very bullish for a while on oil, but we are now finally seeing a big correction. And we know that if we see oil go down, we see USD CAD go up. If we see oil go up, we see USD CAD go down. So we're going to see US oil most likely continue going down with this correction for quite a while at least. And that's another like piece of evidence or backup as to why I'm going to be looking to also buy USD CAD. So that is that. Crypto markets, I'll just take 30 seconds and just say I would not recommend buying anything right now. I think there's been quite a correction recently. I'll just quickly like pull up Bitcoin, right? started to look pretty good. I know a lot of people got really hyped for a few weeks, and then the past couple of weeks it's been dipping. We're sitting on a pretty significant level, and it's a good chance that this could break and we could see Bitcoin drop down to further support levels. And that's obviously, Bitcoin is kind of like the barometer for everything else. So if we see Bitcoin go down, we're really pretty much going to see everything else go down. So if you're looking to put money into, you don't know what to buy right now, but you want to put something into something, wait. Just wait. I would wait for it to get a better price. That's my opinion, at least. I mean, you can get in now, you never know, but that is just my opinion. And that is that. Random, but just something that just popped in my head. For those of you guys that are very heavily involved in crypto, I know there was a lot of drama late last year and early this year on USD Tether, whether or not one USD Tether, it was really backed up, whether they really had the money to back up each Tether that they claimed to have backed up. And they did recently release an audit, because they were withholding an audit for a long time. They did finally release an audit recently. I know this might be old news to some of you guys, but that in fact they do actually have $1 to back up every US Tether. So in my opinion, I think, if you're going to have withholdings in USD Tether, a little bit in there while coins, decrease in value, and then buy more when they're worth more, and have USD Tether just as a placeholder while they're dipping. I don't think that that's a bad idea. I am doing a little bit of that myself, actually. And so that's it, guys. So main thing this week, look for buys on USD CAD. I think USD CAD has potential to go up to 134. You guys heard it here first. I know a lot of people are looking to sell right now. And then AUD USD and NZD USD, both of these, just watch. They've got some really nice support. They've got some really nice trend lines. Everything else, I mean, is pretty on the sidelines right now. I'm very bearish on Euro USD, very bearish on pound dollar, things like that. But we haven't seen really any strong corrections on these pairs recently. Like we have seen the correction on AUD USD and NZD USD the past week. So kind of more focusing on these three pairs this week, and not so much the ones that I normally do. And gold. I mean, gold is dropping too, guys. I mean, look at gold go. I think, watch this. It's gonna drop the lows, right? It's gonna drop. It's also reversing, drop one more piece of nuggets for you guys. It's also reversing right around the 50% retracement level of this recent dip. So where we have found resistance right around 1303. So it's gonna be to the downside for gold, almost guaranteed. So that's it, guys. That's all I've got for you guys, nuggets. So I hope you guys appreciated that. If you guys are watching this replay on YouTube, please smash that like button and leave a comment and subscribe for more of these weekly outlooks. If you're in the paid group, I'll see you guys tomorrow on our daily live webinar. If you're in the free group, Telegram, I'll see you guys on next week's weekly outlook. If you want to learn more about Positive Traders, visit our website at just positive-traders.us. Just simple as that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Hopefully you guys make some money this week, but seriously, guys, capitalize on this week. The markets are not always this juicy and this good. Be always, and make sure you guys are using the position size calculator. Just taking 1 second to go over this, right? If you guys don't know how to use a position size calculator, Google it, right? Just go to Google and type in position size calculator. Everybody should already have it bookmarked, but you just go on here, very simple. You put in your account size. So let's say you're working with a $15,000 account, and this is where you decide the risk, right? Everybody always talks about risking 2%. How do you know to risk 2%? Well, you use this. This is how you do. You use this calculator. You put in the 2%, put in your stop loss, right? Let's say we're trading USD CAD right now, right? USD CAD, or we're going to get into this USD CAD trade, and it's probably going to have about 100 pips stop loss, because we're going to be looking for 400 pips or so, and we want to risk 2%. So it's telling me to use a 0.38 lot size, right? So you click calculate, all good to go. So just for some of you guys that don't know what this is, you need to be using this. This is how you are successful, is being consistent with the risk, right? Not just randomly plopping in a lot size, right? So that is that, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys on the next webinar. Take care, guys, and have a great week.